got lodged up there by the shot clock, and Andre Drummond, for reasons I cannot figure out, just could not get the ball out of there with the broom. So Karl Anthony Towns says, give me that, and then in one shot, knocks it right out, and the crowd went insane. That might have been the loudest
that was fun.
That the Garden crowd was. Look at Chalamet.
Loved it.
He loved it. Anyway, that was sort of a funny moment there.
Drummond was getting booed mercilessly because
and deservedly so.
And the fact that Towns did it in one shot and got the ovation, I noted the time and I said, let's see where the game turns from here. If that's a momentum swing, it was not.
Well, let's show you exactly how it then turned. The game came down to the fourth quarter, and in case you're just joining us, we ran through all of this. Jalen Brunson, who had had sort of an up and down night till that point, just went super clutch. Tie-breaking basket comes with around 5 minutes left. He had 8 points in the fourth. Knicks beat the Sixers 108-102, take a 2-0 series lead. Philly was up in this game by 3 points with 6 minutes left. And then the Knicks locked in. They ended the game on a 12-3 run as the Sixers shot 1 of 9 to close out the game, including 0 of 7 from 3. And in case you're just joining us, Monica, I want you to make the point. Again, you said the sixth man in this series is the schedule. The Sixers have not had and will not have time to catch their breath. They had to play that 7-game war against the Celtics, turn around, no rest, game 1, no rest, game 2. I thought they were going to win that game the whole night last night, and then they clearly ran out of gas at the end.
About the third quarter, I thought, I don't think the Sixers have enough in the tank. Now, I will say that sixth man had been wearing orange and blue until yesterday when OG Anunoby pulls up, and we don't know what that's going to look like. But this series is every other day for a while until somebody forces a Game 7, and that would obviously be Philly as the lower seed.
Right. If there is, that's the only time there would be an extra day of rest in here. So if you're going to big picture it for us right now, and we will wait and hear whatever it is that comes out about OG Anunoby's injury. But if you're going to big picture it right now, 1 game, no Embiid, next game, or the reverse of that, he plays the first game, doesn't play the second, win man, how would you describe where this series is right now?
I really think that the Philly needs Embiid to come a factor. They're 1-3 without Embiid in the playoffs. They're 3-2 with him. They obviously have to protect him, but he has to come back to uplift their offense. And the Knicks, they're in great position. They're playing great basketball. They're on a winning streak. OG Anunoby was, in my view, a top 5 player in the playoffs. So they are going to have to retrofit the way they're going to play because OG was providing so much for them. I really think it's going to come down to Karl Towns. The player who has more to give is Karl Towns, but it only works if he's on the court. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. I think Karl Towns and his fouls are about to become a major part of this series, just as Joel Embiid's health will be.
I'm going to go even further on OG Anunoby. He was the best player on the floor last night, period. I mean, he was. And when luckily they were able to have him, we saw him come off the court and go to the locker room late, and you're like, it was during the timeout, and timeouts are longer in the postseason. You think, well, maybe he's just taking a little bathroom moment, and he's going to be right back out there. Not so fortunate if you're the Knicks. But in terms of two-way play, Anunoby was tremendous last night. I'm totally with Brian on this. He's been one of the 5 best players in the playoffs. So now what? Now, the Knicks, at least, did they play 11 people last night, I believe?
Yes.
The Knicks have the depth, veteran depth, to sort of deal with this in this series. It's going forward, if he's going to miss any real time, that you start to worry about.
You can see it there. It's a great spot shadow that we had on him right there. You see when he starts back up the floor. Yep. He pulls up the first time, then he runs out to the corner and he's spotted up for the shot. It's when he turns and runs back up the floor.
This is the part right here.
Right there he pulls up. Yeah. But now, the play continues. He gets sort of jammed on the dunk there by Paul George. He's going to spot up in the corner. He's looking for the ball. And watch as he takes off up the floor. Right there, you just that one little
noticeable limp.
And then he looks to the bench and he says, I got to go. They end up getting a stop and come back the other bit, and then they finally get him out of the game. It was still very late in the game. He does go into the back, and that was the thing. All the talk around the Garden, you had a lot of Knick legends in the building, along with celebrities, and every single one of them that I saw on the court after the game, all was coming up to me going, all right, what's the story with OG? It shows you how valuable he is. He might not be a name around the NBA. He might not be one of those marquee names that you always talk about, but in New York, they know his value. He's at a point, I haven't updated the numbers, but he's at a point now that since they traded for him with Toronto 2 years ago, that the Knicks are almost 50 games over 500 when he plays. Like, that just shows you how he has taken that. Jalen Brunson gets a lot of credit for turning the franchise around and getting it to where it is right now. But Anunoby's addition is unheralded, but he is a huge impact player.
So I hosted the NBA coverage here for 2 seasons alongside Mr. Wilbon, and if there's one thing I miss most about that, it's being able to turn to you whenever I wanted to and ask a question that gives me perspective. So here's my question.
Okay.
It feels like this year's playoffs have been defined by injury, right? In every single series, it feels like someone goes down here or there. And last night it's Embiid, and hopefully it isn't going to be Anunoby now, but I don't have a great feeling about it, watching him go up the floor, at least that he won't miss a little bit of time. So I turn to you when I say, is it always that way and I just don't remember it, or does it seem to be particularly so this year?
It's particularly so, but it's trendier than this year. Remember the season with Golden State. In the playoffs, championship team in the playoffs, and you get, we've seen Steph Curry have to miss playoff time in series, and is he going to come back? Is he going to back him? And he has. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. We've seen this over the last 6 or 7 seasons, all too much. Look at last year. Look at Tatum. I know Boston was going out of that anyway. Halliburton.
Devastating.
So no, it's been the last few years, and we're talking about big stars. And no, because I've been covering the playoffs far more years than I'm going to say out loud. And most of those years, no one of that stature, first team All-NBA players did not, I'm not going to say there weren't bumps and bruises and there weren't sprains and things that kept them out, but not like this.
Right.
Even Oklahoma City, the Jalen Williams is there.
Jalen Williams still haven't played yet.
That's right. And that's and I mean, obviously, Luka, who's not even been
that's the biggest one of all.
There's that number on Anunoby. They are 132 and 67 when he plays. Okay. This is following this. Jaylen Brown's feelings towards the Celtics came into question when the Hall of Famer and Brown's mentor, Tracy McGrady, said that Brown has a frustration that, quote, lies deeply within the organization during a recent episode of the podcast Cousins. What you're going to hear now are Brad Stevens responding to those comments and then more thoughts from Jaylen Brown.
I talked to Jaylen Monday a little bit after he just real quickly and was nothing but positive. He has not expressed those frustrations to me.
Hate that our president of basketball operations even had to respond to this. Me and Brad have a great relationship. I love Boston. If it was up to me, I could play in Boston for the next 10 years.
If it was up to me is a fascinating choice of words. So, Winman, why don't we start the conversation where you picked it up when we talked about this? I can't recall now if it was yesterday or the day before. The proof will be in the pudding this summer.
Yeah, so Jaylen Brown and the Celtics, it's got to be a two-way street, can enter into a contract extension if they would desire in July. It's a more complex thing, and there's some factors where they may not want to do it. But if everybody's in kumbaya, then you can extend that contract and move on. Brad Stevens is the executive of the year. He has built a championship team. He has built a team that has consistently renewed itself around its star players, and he's made terrific decisions. I am less interested in the Jaylen Brown comments on Twitch and Tracy McGrady comments than I am what Brad Stevens said yesterday. Because what Brad Stevens said was, this team wasn't good enough. We were 3-11 against the top teams in the West and the top teams against the East. Philadelphia was the better team and deserved to win the series. So the question is, what is Brad Stevens going to do about it? And how does that involve Jaylen Brown? Does that involve keeping Tatum and Brown together and building around them as he has for his entire tenure? Or does that examine looking at something else? And I honestly don't know if they know the answer yet. I think they're going to examine it. So, and I'm going to tell you that if Jaylen, I think, went back on the internet yesterday to make sure that he made it clear, because he doesn't want to be making that sort of squeaky wheel stuff when he knows the Celtics are examining what might happen in the future.
Okay, so the windy fingers were very much done intentionally there. What do you think, Michael? I guess I want to ask the question, nothing or nothing. All this, when Tracy McGrady...
Is it smoke or fire?
Yeah.
That's what I was asking somebody last night. It isn't until it is. Did anybody have James Harden playing on like 6 teams when he was, an MVP in Houston? Anybody have Kevin Durant playing on 5 teams? No. So there's always all these denials. And by the way, Brad Stevens is just a sober judge and assessor of everything. So there's credibility because Brad Stevens said it. But that's not this league. Dudes move. They get tired. People look at the bottom line. Are you going to pay those two great championship ring-wearing wings $600 million? An owner who didn't have that decision is changed in Boston. So do I believe what each person said in real time. Does that have anything to do with the reality of the NBA? What? Are people paying attention? Guys leave every day. Who stays and we make a big deal out of guys who stay and play 15 years for a reason. Nobody does. Not the best players. Do I expect Giannis to be in? No, he's not going to be in Milwaukee. Let's get real about this. And by the way, I don't mind anything that Jalen Brown said, and Alan and I were talking about it. Timing was the thing.
Right.
Timing, just the timing.
Right.
I don't really object to stuff he said, even the characterization is flopping. But do I think that there's a good chance he could be dealt? Yeah.
I think he'd be the wrong guy.
He might be.
I wouldn't trade him.
Wait. Is the right guy always traded? Yes. Let's look again at this league. How many teams Kawhi Leonard been on now? How many teams Paul George been on? I'm talking about Hall of Famers